sir. Title, Digital Silver Screens, How the Digital. There's several hats that are a talk show host, reality show judge, writer, but one hat that suits him perfectly is that of a filmmaker. And also Mr. Girish Menon, Director, Media and Entertainment, KPMG India. Kindly put your hands together for him too.
Thank you very much. So I understand that our sort of got preponed, and thank you for sort of accommodating us. The theme of this conference really is around digital transformation, and this session particularly covers the impact of digital technology and changes in technology on filmmaking, and also particularly on the art of filmmaking. And it's my privilege to have this conversation today with Karan Johar, who needs no introduction, and just to share his insights on this particular aspect. Let me just sort of dive into it, and thank you so much, Karan, for making it today. So I think a good way to sort of get into this would be that it's been about 20 years since you sort of released your first movie. And in that context, what have you really seen changing over the last 20 years in terms of how has technology really impacted how you approach your movies and how you really make your movies?
Firstly, good evening. Thank you for accommodating us a little earlier. Apologies if that caused any inconvenience. To answer your question, I'm one of the rare few people who kind of made that shift. Me and Aditya Chopra, I think two filmmakers. Aditya had a film released in 1995 called Dil Wale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, and I debuted in 1998 with Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. So there's been a sea change and transformation within the film fraternity when it comes to technology and it comes to the way we make movies. I don't even know, we actually used to edit our films on the Steenbeck, which was not even the digital format of editing, which is like the primitive, almost, method of editing, which we did right through Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. It was only a year after that, in 1999, where the Avid, which is the digitally driven, technology-driven format of editing, so I was one of those rare people from the current lot of filmmakers who actually edited my film, like literally, like scissor in hand. It was literally
both sides.
I have. Even in terms of equipment and everything else, and finally when the Avid came on, it was like everyone was so trigger happy. It was like everyone was trying all kinds of things, moving things in different frames and fade outs and blurs, and suddenly everybody was more excited with the advent of technology within our realm of things. It's only when things relaxed that we understood that this is here to stay and what to do with it. So as I said, so much has changed. I don't know how to answer that question to you without really kind of conducting an opera, because from the editing formats to the arrival of computer graphics in our life, to everything, the way we make movies, see movies, the viewing experience, everything has been like phenomenal. The whole change has been completely diametrically phenomenal.
I understand it. You're right. It's interesting if you see there are multiple areas where possibly there has been a significant change in the way technology has evolved. And what we could probably do is maybe pick up 2 or 3 areas where maybe just talk a little bit and get your views around that. First is let's start with the core of a lot of this is really the advent of digital cameras and how that's moved away from traditional formats of shooting. Right. How has that really changed how you approach, right?
Well, it's the death of celluloid, right? It's really the term we used all through our formative years as student filmmakers and then as initial filmmakers. We called it celluloid. Right. It's no longer celluloid. We're all digital. So everything is like, we used to wait for a magazine to change, right, and it used to be a big deal. Now we change our tapes. Right. And there's so much that can happen. Everything is a button away. Right. I want to go brighter, I want to go wider, I want to go tighter, I want to go softer, I want to go anything. Right. You go digital, you open up the Torah. As a the poetic part of me feels shattered with this new advent, because there was a charm in the way you felt the characters on celluloid. And I know there are filmmakers even today that miss that feeling. Right. I just feel like there is something mildly or then sometimes very strongly synthetic about the way the final product is. But it's the order of the day, it's the order of our times.
Right.
And I know that film just felt, I don't know, it just felt special. It
Right.
felt rare. It felt like these characters were in a real world and you were connecting to their lives on an organic and an honest level.
Right.
Today with digital, you just start feeling everything is mildly kind of, there is an artificiality that penetrates through the format and stays there. But of course you can circumvent that, and of course, you know, there are ways and means of even working around digital.
Right.
You know, as we all know that green screen work and computer graphic work is now such a large part. I'm one of those reluctant filmmakers who always reluctant to green screen. And I've just come back from London and had a meeting with the double negative guys who are working with us on a film.
Right.
And the head there, Namit, you know, who owns Prime Focus and has now taken over Double Negative. So Namit was telling me the biggest filmmakers in the world, be it Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, all of them are not so technology savvy, but they understand what it can do for their product.
Right.
You know, they understand that green screen is something not to fear. And there are some like Alfonso Cuarón, who did Gravity,
Yeah.
who actually did not want the green screen at all. Everything was kind of projected.
Right.
You know, he did not want anything green. So there are filmmakers who don't like the idea of
Right.
green screen at all.
Right, right.
And there are ways to kind of work around that.
Sure.
And then, you know, when we've traveled and worked and spoken to filmmakers, and you speak to filmmakers all over the world, and they tell you that actually it's what you do with computer graphic. It's how you can actually create a world, make it a human drama, make it an emotional film, but you can expand the bandwidth of that story. You know,
Right.
it's what James Cameron did with Titanic is no less than a Hindi film. In
Right.
terms of its ethos, emotional content, melodrama, drama, song, dance, conflict, everything was in the film. But look at what he did with it in 1998.
Right.
Ironically, the same year as my first film debut, which
Right.
was Hota Hai. And there were two love stories with totally two different syntax appeals.
Right.
One, where he took a real life event and put it on this monumental scale with the help of computer graphic and used detailing with the help of graphic that you can't even tell is actually CG work.
Right.
So it's what you do with it. You can
Sure.
still tell your narrative. And I
Right.
think India is a land of emotional content. We're a land that makes beautiful love stories, emotional stories. So we have to take the help of computer graphic, never change and become wannabe or Me Too's
Right.
of what they're doing, you know?
Right.
Save, I think, one film that actually really can give, as they say, takkar to any of their best work. And that's true because of its emotional content is Bahubali.
Yes.
You know, and Bahubali is such a proud experience, and Rajamouli's brilliance and vision. And he worked on that film for over 3 or 4 years before it saw its first version. Save that, I feel today Indian filmmakers must look at it holistically. Take up a theme where they can actually build on it emotionally with the help of CG, and not just go around like trying to create like, you know, epic scale war sequences or like monumental action set pieces, just like there are in the franchise films of Hollywood. You don't need to do that. You can actually take a film, an emotional father-son film, or a husband-wife film, or a love story like Titanic was, and give it that epic feeling with the help of computer graphics. It's what you do with it.
Okay, so you're essentially saying, use it as a tool rather than be dependent and make movies which are driven by CGI. But
Exactly.
use it as a-
Everything doesn't have to be like, you know,
enhance your content.
Lord of the Rings or
Right,
Harry Potter.
right,
You know,
right.
everything does not have to be that.
Right.
You can take a simple love story and give it that scale,
Right.
you know, or give it that visual excellence with the help of understanding. The understanding actually is very simple. There are teams led all over the world by some of the brightest minds. And so many of them, you know, will be able to tell you that you should never compromise on emotion.
Right.
Just use that as a peripheral technique.
Understand. So, just to sort of take it from what you said, when we talk CGI, the impression that sort of comes to mind is exactly the kind of stuff you said around big war scenes or scenes which are heavy on special effects. Is there something you can sort of share with us, maybe some of the movies that you've done where you use CGI, you use special effects, but they are so subtle or they're so much used more to sort of enhance a natural content rather than make it so heavy on CGI.
I mean, a lot of the films that I've produced have been low besides what we're making right now.
Right.
If you know, we partnered on some films that have actually had, but I mean, there are little things that you can actually do, Girish, that are like simple. Like we can actually have, let me put it into perspective for you, for people who understand film. that we can have actually just a front row of tables and I can show like an auditorium,
Right.
literally, if
Right.
I need to show scale. I don't need to
Right.
go beyond the front row. We have about 20 gentlemen. It can look like 3,000 and that's the easiest shot in the world.
Right.
So if you want to show scale, you can cut costs, you can control budgets if you actually leverage computer graphics easily.
Right.
It's the insecurity of a filmmaker that it stunts your growth. And I think most of us get so afraid of leveraging the facilities of computer graphics.
Right.
It's simple things, like you can, in my movies, we've done crowd multiplication.
Right.
Say a film of ours that released last year called Brothers. We had like just one section of people, 200, but we made it look like a stadium full of 10,000 people.
Right.
And in moving shots, sometimes this used to be possible with just static imagery,
Yeah.
but now you can actually move your camera and yet have that crowd multiplication happen
Right.
efficiently.
Right.
There are things you can change faces, you can transform images, you can do anything. Buying the cosmeticness of it, which is also a big part, I have to tell you, of what happens. We can make people look younger, thinner, prettier. I mean, all that is cosmetic, and that is, of course, just a section of what computer graphic can do. But apart from that, it's just creating that magic on celluloid and giving you that epic scale without an epic budget. And I think that efficiency is what we need to start integrating in our zone.
Absolutely.